Have you ever wanted to change your life? In the city of Frost and Fire, you can be inspired by the real stories of the extraordinary people that made the leap and have defined our north of normal metro. Today, we have Jen Enz, who is a dance instructor with Lindy of the North. Hello, Jen.
Hi.
So I've known you for a while. I know our kids go to daycare together at the YMCA.
Yes.
Did we meet prior to that?
Maybe in Zumba class.
Zumba, right?
Yep. I know most people that I know from the Y.
I love Zumba. I mean, I'm a pretty androgynous guy. I do a lot of masculine things, but probably the most feminine thing I do is just go crazy on the Zumba floor. You've seen me, right?
Yes.
I mean,
yep. You definitely you let loose, and that's the point of Zumba. There's no right or wrong. You're just having fun.
I only started doing it a few years ago. I remember when I first started, I couldn't even get through a whole class, and afterwards I'd just be sick for 3 days just because it took so much out of me. But that was only a few years ago. That wasn't a part of my life up until then. That was my first into dancing. I loved it so much. Where did your love of dance begin?
Gosh, I started dancing in high school.
Yeah.
I think maybe junior high. A friend asked me to audition for the dance team with her because she was too scared to do it herself. I'd never done any kind of dance before and was like, well, this is dumb. I'm not gonna make it, but I did.
So junior high school?
I think it was either 8th grade or 9th grade.
And
that's where I started.
And you had to try out.
Yes.
So it's a selective process?
It's a very competitive process to make it onto the teams because the teams compete. And every single dancer on the team has to be really quite good in order for the team to win.
Is it still that way? Is it still so competitive?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends on the school. The school I went to was very competitive. They competed nationally and won. And that was kind of the expectation that they were going to win. So they were.
What school did they?
West Fargo.
Out in West Fargo.
Yes. So it was the Pacatanas.
So I was in the Moorhead school system by junior high, and I went the more academic route. I did do football, and in both of those, in both debate and football, there weren't tryouts. There were just strings, right? So everybody got to be in, but. Were you a starter or were you first? The football team was so big. We had 5 strings.
Oh, wow.
I was third of 5. So I wasn't
Not
bottom
bad.
string, right? I was the bottom string in the top team because they split us into 2 teams. We were so big. But what was the dance team like? So they didn't just let anybody on because everybody was performing at all times.
Yes.
Okay.
And you're only as good as the weakest dancer if one person stands out because they're off tempo. That's all you look at. That's all you see.
And so dance is such a broad term. So when I think of Zumba, that's one thing. It's almost like a line dancing. Zumba is, in a sense. What is this dance? You guys are dancing as a team. You're not dancing with each other. You're more like dancing as a group, right?
Right. We are all doing the exact same movements at the exact same time, perfectly synchronized. It's kind of like synchronized swimming on land, but it has to be really precise. And
are there ever any men or boys that do that?
Sometimes. U of M is really a very famous dance team. They won nationals with an amazing routine last year that blew up the internet, and they have a man on the team. But it's more uncommon, I would say, for sure.
Yeah,
but it happens.
I hate blowing up female-dominated spaces, but I tend to find myself gravitated towards them for one reason or another. Because you talk about the synchronization, and then I'm like, well, that's Zumba. We're all doing the same moves.
Yeah.
This is an experience I've had at Zumba, is that low key, we say nobody's judging you, don't worry. Low key, I'm judging everyone. I'm sorry, because to me it's competition. I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
And I'm working really hard on my form. To me, Zumba is an extension. I did martial arts through high school, so I quit football. I did martial arts, and to me, it's an extension.
Makes it different.
Well, it's an extension of that martial arts where I'm working on the form, and I'm working really hard. And it would be awesome if everybody else was working that hard, so that we could all up our game. Right? And I really appreciate it when there's another really great dancer in the room so I can challenge myself and be like, oh, they're doing that move, I'm going to do that move, right? But I imagine a dance team is very similar. What would be the difference between a dance team and Zumba?
So that's a great question because that was kind of my segue. I went from dancing in high school and college on a team to teaching Zumba. shortly after. And
Yeah.
it's like the opposite. We might be doing the exact same moves, but on a dance team, the expectation is you
Everybody
do it
needs to do the same
perfectly,
thing.
no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah.
And in Zumba, it's like you do it however you want.
However you want.
You do you.
Yeah.
Don't do it harder than you want to. If you want to do something completely different and just like bop around in the
Yeah.
background, like go for it. When I'm teaching, I'm looking for safety only.
Yeah.
I'm never like judging anybody's dance skills.
When I almost feel like to up my game in Zumba, I need to join a dance team. Is what I.
That would for sure do it.
But are there 30 plus dance teams out there?
You know, maybe. Maybe we should start one.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'd be down.
I'm
that sounds fun.
into it. Although it's
Yeah.
tough. Again, we were talking about the kids that we have in how many kids do you have?
6.
You have what?
Yeah,
And
6.
are they
I
all
said it.
yours?
All yours.
How did you-
yours. That's I
how
don't
did you-
know if I've got that
Okay.
question.
Well,
I've gotten a lot of questions,
I
but
come from a pretty blended family, so
they are all mine.
and
I gave birth to every last one of them.
Wow. Congratulations.
One at a time. That's another question I get a lot of.
Yeah.
Twins.
When did you start?
When I was 19. So
Yeah,
I think I got
you-
a head start.
yeah.
And they're pretty spread out.
Yeah.
There's 19 years
Yeah.
between my oldest and my youngest.
Yeah.
It's
How?
kind of fun.
Yeah. So how old's your oldest and how old's your youngest?
My oldest is 23 and my youngest just turned 4.
Oh, Evie's your youngest then.
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's,
man.
I've got a lot of teenagers right now, and that's intense. But having teenagers and having toddlers is so similar.
Isn't it?
You know, and their wild emotional swings and just really being unreasonable. That's,
But at least the teenagers can put themselves to bed, right?
well, in theory, they can. They can't, but do they?
It doesn't work, huh? I mean, because that has been the thing about parenting that has been. It's not. I describe it this way. It's not the event. It's the duration. It's because it's every single day. I wake up 6 a.m. You know, I rub my eyes. I go down, get my daughter at 6:20. Somehow it takes us until 7:40 to eat a bowl of cereal and change clothes, and then I drive her to school. I plop down back at home at 8:10. You know, I put in my 8 hours. I go to the gym, pick up the kids, bring them home, feed them, bathe them, put them to bed, which also takes an hour and a half for some reason.
Forever.
Right? And like every day is nonstop from
Yeah.
wake until sleep. It doesn't ever stop. Does it stop? It must stop when they get a little older.
Well, it just changes. Then the worries become different.
Stress I can handle. It's the constant motion. I need to sit
when
down.
they're wiping their own butts and they can like prepare their own food and stuff. Like it gets a little.
It
bit
is
less,
easier, right?
Less hands-on.
Well,
yeah.
because I talk to a lot of parents who have older kids, and they go, and some say it gets easier, some say it doesn't. But I don't know if I've talked to many who have the full gamut.
Yes, I
Where-
have 2 adults, and I have 2 in high school and 1 in middle school, and then 1 in preschool. So they're really spread out, and they all have their moments where they need a lot from me. And then they all have their moments where, like, I just don't even see them. You know,
Yeah.
they disappear because they're teenagers.
So you do get those breaks.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah.
I need that.
Yes.
I'm so tired.
It's important to
I'm
have
so tired.
time for yourself, for your sanity.
Yeah.
Time to go dance.
Time to go dance.
That's my
well, and
sanity.
we haven't been to Zumba since Vil, my son. I've got the 9-month at home, and we have not been to Zumba since then because I just can't get. I'm tired. So you started teaching Zumba, and now you're teaching swing dancing.
Yes.
Now that is a whole other animal.
It is. Social dance is totally different than anything that you do just by yourself.
You've got a partner,
Yeah.
and so then you're competing against your partner, or how does that work?
Not at all. It's like a conversation.
Okay.
The lead might be kind of guiding the conversation, but
Mm-hmm.
the follow has to respond and hold up their own end of the conversation. They can take it in a different direction than the lead intended. So it's really back and forth, and it's not choreographed. So it's just doing whatever you feel like doing in the
it's
moment.
all improvised.
Yeah.
With the partner.
Which is really intimidating for dancers that are used to having everything choreographed for them. Yeah.
I don't know how I would not compete against my partner somehow. Does it become competitive? Whenever my body's in motion, it's almost like a competition.
I guess, there are other couples dancing,
Yeah.
but in most social dance settings, you'll dance with everyone that's there. You don't stay with one partner.
Oh.
So there is like ballroom, which is very competitive, and you practice the movements.
And you've done every one of these dancing styles?
I have not done ballroom,
Okay.
but I have learned some ballroom styles, and I dance with a lot of dancers who have done ballroom.
Where did you learn that? Where did you get into swing? Where did swing begin for you?
Well, I started out with salsa. We used to
Okay.
have a pretty hopping salsa scene here in Fargo.
Well, and salsa is similar to Zumba in that it's that Latin beat thing, right?
It's lots of Latin. So that
Overlap
felt
in the
familiar
musics.
when I started. It
Yeah.
was easy for me to learn, but it's with a partner. And so that was my introduction to partner dance, to social dance.
Yeah.
And then from there, I found a lot of the same people go to all the different dance events. So they go to maybe the tango ones, the
Yeah.
swing dance things, the salsa, bachata, all the things that we have available. It's the same kind of core group of dancers. So that was how I found out about Lindy of the North, and they do free lessons every Tuesday in the summertime.
Oh,
So I had started coming to those and loved it. And
can we meditate for 3 seconds on that name? Where does that name come from?
Lindy of the North.
Yeah, Lindy.
Lindy is a style of swing dance. It's kind of the OG. It's from the 1920s, 30s, 40s. Kind of originated in Harlem, and it's really high energy and very social, very bouncy. Like it usually has a faster tempo. It includes a triple step, which is just a faster step, and allows for a lot more fun turns and tricks and movements. So that is Lindy, and that's kind of the main style that we do. Blends really well with basic East Coast swing.
Yeah.
Which there's East Coast and there's West Coast, and
A lot
those
of
are different.
A lot of different styles.
Yeah.
I'd heard the term Lindy before, but it was. I guess I can see now. I can see how those contexts come together. So it's like a 1920s term.
Yes, you'll usually hear it called Lindy Hop.
Okay. And then, so you were a student first,
Yes.
and you were like, "This is great. Now I want to teach it." Or how did you become the instructor for that?
They needed instructors, and
Yeah,
I
as they often
love
do.
to teach.
Yeah.
I've been teaching dance for like 14 years now, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I had one of the instructors was moving away, and I talked to the director and said, if you're looking for instructors, I'd be happy to teach.
Yeah.
That I have.
What is it
teaching
about teaching?
experience.
What is it about teaching that you love so much?
Sharing the thing that I'm so passionate about and helping other people see that they can do it too. That building confidence in people and just seeing the moment where they light up, realizing they're doing it. It's happening.
Yeah.
I love everything about teaching. Teaching movement specifically, teaching people to feel good and feel confident and feel safe moving their bodies.
And Zumba was the first time that you taught, or did you maybe teach the other girls in the dance line? Is that maybe?
I was a choreographer on our dance team, so
Yeah.
I created the dance and then had to teach it to them.
Yeah.
So I guess it did start in high school,
Yeah.
but then I taught a hip-hop format, a group fitness hip-hop class for a few years before I started teaching Zumba.
Yeah, and that's that kind of teaching. It is more of a here, look at me do it. Now you do like I do, and then just kind of guiding them.
It's like see and do.
Yeah.
The hip hop class, I would actually teach them the movements one at a time and build it into a little routine that we did. It's not as popular in a gym because people want to just be able to drop in, not really think too hard, and then leave.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I would describe myself as I also love to teach, but when I teach, it's not. Look at what I do. I like to explain how things work and why they work, and it's interesting. There's even different approaches to teaching.
There
right?
is.
And
You have to find a way to say it and show it that people can understand.
when you're teaching so are you teaching a few moves at a time, because it isn't like a choreographed where we're doing, go A, B, C, D, E. It's here's the tools and you got to pull them out in swing dancing. Is that, and salsa was like that too, right? Here's the tools and we got to pull them out.
Yeah, you
So how does
start
that-
with the basic movements, and then you learn an inside turn. Then you learn an outside turn, and then there's a pretty standard progression from the basics to the harder movements.
Yeah.
And same thing that we do with swing. We break down one section at a time. We start with just the rhythm, not even movement.
Yeah.
And then we add the steps together one at a time to make sure that everybody catches on for the most part.
All right. For the last few seconds here, of the last few beats, we've been talking Fargo Fun stuff. Really, the conversation is so natural. I didn't break it off. So why don't we actually take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the event, because you are teaching these now. Classes are ongoing.
Yes.
So we are going to talk about those classes in the next segment, Fargo Fun. So don't go. Where's the music? Come on. There it is. Do you hear that? No, you don't, because you don't have headphones on. Don't go nowhere.